All right. Oh my goodness. Hi, You Can Heal family. All right, we are having Tuck in Time live tonight, you guys, and I have to say, I hope I have some company coming on. I'm just gonna kind of wait a few minutes before I start reading. Maybe I'll clean my glasses with my little thing here. I tell you. Now, I wonder why that little person has like a little person next to the person that's new. I wonder what that means. Okay, so now we got to be able to see. Oh, you know what? Those other glasses I think are downstairs. Well, since no one's here, I'm going to take a commercial break. I hope no one comes on, but they'll figure it out because it's late and I have to be able to see. So I'll be back. Maybe someone will join me by the time I get back. Okay, I'm back. All right, so hopefully you just will fast forward that if you're watching a replay. Oops, eyeglass case, and then you'll just fast forward that. I had to grab those other glasses. So the last time we did a Tuck in Time, we were talking about um, exposure as far as how it relates to reaching destiny. And T.D. Jakes was saying that exposure will require you to look at things differently and pay attention to life again by engaging, reading, giving, praying, acting, and sacrificing, thinking, planning, and strategizing, and assessing new experiences, new knowledge, new environments, which can completely change your approach on life. And then it said fear, excitement, anxiety, nervousness, restlessness, insecurity. These feelings are the price of exposure. So when you're exposing yourself to new things, it can be a little bit scary. And that's true. I know for me today, the feeling of maybe just inadequacy came up, or the feeling of maybe frustration a little bit, of doubt. So yeah, when you're trying to do something different, you will have those negative feelings and emotions, but we have to keep going anyways. So I'm going to start reading. Hopefully someone will join me. If not, that's okay. You'll watch it in the replay. It is Saturday night, so people might have things going on. Let me switch my glasses so we can get started. Okay. So tonight we're going to start with Destiny Comes in Pieces. I hope I didn't. Oh my gosh, you guys, I got the microphone here. I didn't put it back on when I came back upstairs. Okay. So hopefully you could hear that and I wasn't like mumbling the whole time. So that's good, right? Now, let me see. What did my daughter teach me here about this camera? Okay, so maybe that's better for me. I don't know if it's better for you. All right, so Destiny Comes in Pieces. We're in chapter 16. We're going to finish the chapter tonight. If this is your first time watching a Tuck in Time, my name is Shena Major, and I'm reading books to you that I use to help me heal from my past, from dealing with codependency, trauma, abandonment issues, and a whole bunch of other things. So hopefully tonight's reading will also help you as well, okay? So here we go. Destiny comes in pieces. Exposure to new thoughts and experiences is sometimes extremely uncomfortable for us because we fear the unknown new arena in which God places us. So God has to reveal our destiny to us in pieces. If God showed you what the Almighty really had in store for you right from the beginning, it might scare you into a corner from which you might never reappear. God created you and knows what you have the capacity to do, but you don't. See, now that's a really good sentence. God created you, so He knows what you can do, what you can't do, what you can handle, what you can't handle, what you have the capacity for, and what you don't. The problem is you don't, according to T.D. Jakes. And this is true, and I think that's why some of those things I was just sharing, like doubt, will come up or inadequacy, because God created us to be able to fulfill the calling on our life, what He created us, what He put us here to do. But if we don't believe it, that we've got what it takes to get it done, then we're going to have all those negative thoughts and emotions. So that was a good sentence. You may see yourself as just a chemistry student or merely a mechanic. God sees the passion inside you that goes far beyond your present circumstances. God sees the great inventor, entrepreneur, physician, or teacher you can become in time. If God showed you what your Creator really sees in you, you probably couldn't handle it. So you get a little bit of it at a time. You have so much to learn along the journey that you receive it in stages. When I was a boy, we played a game called Mother May I. At some points, the child who was mother would say, "Take 3 baby steps," or "Take a giant step." The child on the receiving end of the instruction had to first say, "Mother, may I?" Before taking that step. Hold on. Dolly, I can't, it's too loud, honey. I just said that. She's having a sleepover and they're watching a movie. All right, so the child on the receiving, thank you, on the receiving end of the instruction had to first say, "Mother, may I," before taking the step. In a similar way, it's important to gain direction from God to get to the next step. And as much as you would like to take a giant leap, sometimes God's instructions may be to take a couple baby steps. You get a little bit at a time, like an infant who has just begun to tolerate solid food. Sometimes you get exposed to the business as an intern before you ever begin to trek to become CEO. Perhaps your exposure to the life of a district attorney comes while you're working your way through law school. Your introduction to having your own landscaping business may begin with you cutting lawns in the neighborhood. Your career as a solo artist may launch with you singing in the church choir. Each opportunity then builds on the last until you become fully ready to stand in the position to which destiny calls you. When destiny unfolds rather than explodes in front of us, we can have a greater understanding of where we have been and where we're going. Having full knowledge of all the Almighty has in store for us would probably freak us out. The self we see now is not the person the Creator will shape to receive destiny. Be careful. Be careful. Oh my gosh. All right. Let's take some water. My goodness. All right. The self we see now is not the person the Creator will shape to receive destiny. When I was a boy, I went to an event where my mother was speaking to a sorority group. They all knew me as Odith, Jake's son. Hearing my mother speak was exposure God gave me to a tiny glimpse of my future. After her speech, I told her, "Now they know me as your son, but one day they're going to know you as my mother." God showed me a piece of my destiny at that moment. I had no idea that the Potter's house was in my future, but I knew I would have an opportunity to speak to large groups of people. Go with the flow of destiny. That's our next section. Our next section, go with the flow of destiny. When destiny is an adventure, you can go along with that. But when destiny threatens your job security or puts your financial resources at risk, it feels more like a nightmare. When destiny looks damaging, be flexible enough to change so that at the right time you will be positioned to get another step closer to where you need to be. Going with the flow of destiny doesn't mean you won't experience pain, hurt, anxiety, anger, and loss. It means you don't let it paralyze you and rob you of the opportunity for new life experiences and a new purpose. When someone is dying after all medical and all resuscitation efforts have failed, there's nothing you can do to stop it. Likewise, when a baby is about to be born, when the water breaks and the mother goes into labor, the only action to take in those birth and death moments is to adapt and adjust to the situation. Learn how to move on and find meaningful ways to fill the void the loss created in your life or stretch to accommodate the new member of the family. You don't do so in a day or because you make a decision. It is a process. Isn't that the truth? But when you keep moving with the flow, you can craft a new way to find meaning in life. The Mothers Against Drunk Driving organization was founded by a mother whose daughter was killed by a drunk driver. This grieving mother found a way to keep moving in the flow of life, which no longer included her daughter, to find a new purpose for her own life. If the company where you worked for 20 years shuts down, let it die and trust that destiny is calling you into a new situation. When your marriage ends after all your efforts to keep it alive, keep going with the flow of destiny. When you realize a situation cannot be saved, let go and open yourself to the new opportunities. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. never intended or desired to be such a well known or polarizing figure. In the mid 1950s, when black citizens in Montgomery, Alabama, formed the Montgomery Improvement Association, they needed a spokesman for their boycott of the city's bus transit system. The Montgomery pastors turned to the young, highly educated pastor who was fairly new to their community. Dr. King might have chosen a different life since he was educated at prestigious institutions, but leadership during the civil rights era was thrust upon him, a role that he reluctantly accepted but then fully embraced. Dr. King moved with the flow of destiny and changed the course of a nation and the world. So that's interesting to me, where it says he reluctantly accepted but then fully embraced. So sometimes we need to make a change in our life. We know something needs to be different, but um, you're reluctant. And just because you're reluctant doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. So let's use Dr. King's example. He was reluctant, but he went forward anyways. And thank God he did, right? Thank God he did. I'm able to sit here and read this book to you. You know, that's really interesting to me because you see Dr. King and you don't think he'd be reluctant to do anything. He was such a good leader, but it was new for him, right, to take on that position, to lead the Montgomery Improvement Association and the boycott. So thank God. Oh, Sugar Crust is here. Sugar Crush, that's wonderful. Hi, thanks for joining me. I was hoping I'd have some company. I was hoping I'd have some company. I hope you had a good day. Um, All right, so we're reading T.D. Jakes' book Destiny, and we're talking in the book tonight about, oh my gosh, what is the keyword I'm looking for? Well, we're talking about the flow of destiny, but the title of the first section was Destiny doesn't just happen all at once, it goes in sections. And you said you did have a good day. That's awesome. All right. So, when we are unable to move with the flow of our destiny, when the flow changes and we refuse to travel with it, we may find that we can no longer enjoy what used to bring us pleasure. We can't laugh at things that we used to find funny. We become dissatisfied with the things that used to bring contentment. And that's really true too. Like things that you used to put up with in the past, or maybe for you sugar crush with kids at school, or jokes that you might hear, maybe they used to be funny to you, but now as you're growing in the Lord and moving towards your destiny and what God has for you, those things aren't funny anymore. So that's true, because as you get older and grow, we should be changing and becoming better. Life has many wonderful opportunities that do not come to us by foreknowledge or by any planning on our part. We must learn to go with the flow, even when it feels as if God has stirred up what once brought us assurance and peace. Destiny requires us to move on. Ah, that's so true. We're going to leave old things behind, right? Let everything become new. In order to reach our destiny, we've got to keep going forward. The next section says, look from destiny's perspective. So I just want to see. All right. Charles Swindoll has been attributed with this observation. Now, Charles Swindoll is a Bible teacher, and you can hear him sometimes, I think, on TBN. Life is 10% what happens to me and 90% how I respond to it. The perspective you take on life's flow and transitions makes the critical difference. That's really true too. That's really true too, because things happen to us all the time. And we're focusing more on the thing that's happening. What am I trying to say? It's how we respond to the thing that's happening, not the actual thing that's happening. It's being able to thing going on in your life and being able to be on the outside looking in from that and figuring out how to handle it so it doesn't take over our life. It's 10% what happens and 90% how you respond to it. Ronald Cotton, let's see who he was, spent 35 years in prison for rape he did not commit. Exonerated by DNA evidence, Ronald and his accuser, Jennifer Thompson Canino, became close friends and even co authored a book. Now that's forgiveness, right? Jail. Oh my gosh. Wow. That's good. Um, but Joseph had made the decision to forgive Jennifer long before his release. So that's good too. He made up in his mind what got him there was not going to hold him prisoner also. Like if he knew he didn't do anything wrong and he ended up being exonerated, but he had the forgiveness for the woman who was responsible for putting him in prison. He said, I couldn't carry on serving my time in the prison system, holding grudges and thinking about retaliating against the person that made an honest mistake. I had to proceed on in life regardless. Perspective is why a man can spend decades in jail for a crime he did not commit and hold no ill will towards his accuser. The decision to proceed in life, no matter what, is why some thrive in transition. Let me read that again. The decision to proceed in life, no matter what, is why some thrive in transition while others wither. Yeah, keep going. When things don't make sense, when things like seem unfair, you know, we have to keep proceeding. We have to keep moving forward. or we'll just want to crawl up in a ball somewhere, right? Perspective is how you view what happens to you. Perspective moves you to look at the rubble of devastation and see the phoenix rising from it. When people hear the word grace, they usually think of its meaning in religious terms. But grace also can be understood as a virtue or a disposition towards a thing. Oh, that's true. That's true. The grace to handle situations that come our way that are unpleasant. Yeah, that's good. You can have grace for doing something and then lose it, so your perspective changes. You can have the grace to work 70-hour weeks and it doesn't bother you. You may even thrive on it. You may do this for a long time, then fall in love, marry, have children, and as you watch your children grow up far too quickly, you may lose your grace for working such long hours. Spending time with family becomes more important. So I think whatever we're going through, God will and wants to give us the grace to get through that, to handle it, to thrive in that situation. But things change. Life's changing every day and we're growing. We need to just ask God for the grace to get through this day, with best behavior and with Him always on our mind. Because then we'll make right decisions about things, and we'll respond better to things when they come up. Maybe you once had grace for putting out fires on the job, but now have lost your grace for relentless pressure. As you are more exposed, your perspective changes. Through exposure, you discover you don't have to live like you do now. Through exposure, you discover you're worthy of a mate who respects you, and your perspective changes. Through exposure, you realize that your talent can earn you a good living and a great sense of fulfillment. Exposure changes your perspective. Oh, that's good. What stuck out to me? You discover you're worthy of a mate who respects you. I was thinking about my healing journey, and yeah, when you're exposed to people who've been through what you've been through and have come out on the other side, it gives you hope and it makes you realize that if it happened for them, it can happen for me. So that's good. That's really good. I was on the Bet Your Spending Challenge by that Demolisher this evening, and the growth work homework was really difficult for me for day 11. But just, seeing that her channel is so positive and how she's gotten through, getting out of her debt and dealing with her finances and teaching us, it really is inspiring, and just not giving up. The more you're exposed to something new, I think the easier it's going to become as well. So the last paragraph here says, if you are serious about destiny, you will receive the gift of exposure and be willing to change your perspective. Through the ebbs and flows of life, through the challenges, the opportunities, the changed perspectives, welcome exposure to the new. You are meant to be there. That's good. If something feels uncomfortable, if you're trying something new, Sugar Crush, and it seems like it's really hard, just know you're meant to be there. You're meant to be there. If God's giving you the grace to keep going, keep trying, you're meant to be there. Resist the urge to go back to what's familiar, and remember that even if you do, what you left behind won't be the same now. Oh, this is so good. This is what I needed to hear tonight, because I was really challenged with all the financial homework. But this is really good. It's so much easier to go back and do what we're used to, what's familiar, what's comfortable. But it's in trying something new. And I was listening to Joyce Meyer today, and she was talking about fear. She had a book that came out in 2020 that was called Do It Afraid. And I've said that before, when things seem scary or we're afraid, that's courage if we do it anyway. So we've got to remember that Nothing that's going to better us is going to come super easy. We're going to have to put in a little work and get uncomfortable a little bit in order to get the results we want and to become better people. Exposure has made you a different person who can't go back to the old situation. Focus on what lies ahead and then believe in God's power to take you there. And that's true. So whatever you're believing for, like Sugar Crush, whatever, I don't know if you thought about what you want to do when you get older or what is God calling you to do? Do you know? Have you, know what His will is for your life is? We have to believe that God's power is enough to take us there, to get you there. And anybody else who's going to be listening to this replay, like, this is such a good last sentence. Focus on what lies ahead, meaning what do you imagine for? What are we dreaming for? What are we hoping for? What are we believing for? And then believing that there's enough power. God's power is enough to take us there, to get us there. Just got to hold on. We've got to not get caught up in, things that happen. How did he put it? Let me go back because I'm losing my words. You can't, oh, where is it? We can't get caught up in, oh my goodness. What was that? We just, oh my God, experiences that are uncomfortable. Like, we have to be able to respond with with how God would in situations. And remember with Dr. King, he was asked to do something and he was reluctant. But God wants us to go for it and to try anyways and be able to do that. I'm kind of looking at your comment, and I want to say to you with that comment, just focus on the cross. Just focus on the cross. Just focus on the cross. That's that's the main thing. Keep your focus on Jesus. Keep your focus on Jesus, Sugar Crush. Keep your focus on Jesus. All right, You Can Heal family. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in, whatever time of day you caught this video. I'm trusting that God is sending it out. And this book, Destiny by T.D. Jakes, is helping you desire and want to and look forward to moving towards your destiny. So praise the Lord for that. I hope this was a good a good video for you, and trusting that you will definitely reach your destiny. You definitely will. All right, you guys. Always remember that true healing begins with self-love. Why? Because God is love and He lives on the inside of you. Thanks for joining me, Sugar Crush, tonight and keeping me company. Talk to you soon. All right, you guys. Bye.